I do have a family friend contacted me recently with a really great job offer. And it was super, super kind of her to do, and I'm going to apply to it just to see if it's a good fit. But what I've really been thinking is, like, and that's why I think I feel guilty about it, because I have this other amazing opportunity, but it would take up a lot of my energy, in the sense that it would be a job I'd really be applying myself to, or would really apply myself to, and it would be like an 8-hour-a-day real endeavor. And I think I am coming to the conclusion that if I have my bills paid and I have money in savings and I'm like, okay, which is a luxury and a privilege in itself, I don't necessarily need more than that. And there's nothing really wrong with working at a grocery store and also making my art versus having a job that is exciting to say I have. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. And I've always believed this. Like, I never have been a person that, like, I don't know, condemned anybody that did a job like this. There is no small job if it's paying your bills, but
yeah,
I think it just feels funny to, like, my whole life hearing, like, if you go to art school, you're going to be working retail, and blah, blah, blah. You're going to drop out of school. And then I just did. Like, I did exactly that.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
That's true.
It's a funny thing to think about.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because while maybe anyone could get, like, a bachelor's in art,
yeah,
or something, like, that isn't, like, a huge feat. But it's funny, too, how it's, like, culturally and socially worthless to have an art degree.
I do think having a bachelor's
Well,
in art
probably
is
not culturally worthless, but, like, but yeah. I'm saying, like it's this the reputation of it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's funny that getting an MFA would be so hard. Like, can you imagine literally completing a master's program?
I think even completing a bachelor's program is really hard.
Yeah, that's true. I literally didn't complete one.
I was 3 semesters from doing so, but didn't.
Yeah.
I think that it is very worthwhile if you have money to, but...
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, that's like kind of the thing too, is that I kind of have decided I really would like to have an art degree.
Yeah.
Because I think the information is valuable if I was going to a good school, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
But I think that I just shouldn't right now because of the money, and I think I would like to, I think if I would go back if I somehow could just fucking pay.
Yeah, exactly. I absolutely would.
Like, the loans literally are like, it's like Batman villain shit. Like, why did they do this? Anyway, never mind. But, like, I just don't, I don't want to
Why did they do this?
I don't want any more debt.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it.
It feels unfair, too. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I understand this is a really big issue, and probably one I'm not as qualified to speak on as others, but it just feels so unfair. Like, my background personally, coming from, like, a homeschooling background, like, we weren't a co-op family, just coincidentally, we didn't happen to go to a lot of the co-ops, but I think that's a really cool model of homeschooling, when families just kind of pitch in together and teach each other what they know.
Is that a homeschooling co-op?
It is, yes. Yeah, a family will rent out a space, or they'll do it out of their house, and a bunch of parents will pitch in, and each of them teach a subject or something, and, like, kind of build their own DIY school. And as long as the kids pass tests at the end of the year, or can prove that they are the same equivalency as kids their age in the school system, they're allowed to do it legally en masse, which is cool. But not to get into that, it's a whole tangent, but I think coming from that kind of background, and then hearing that I have to pay, like, $1 billion to learn how to make a pot is, like, what the hell? Like, yeah. There's a big discrepancy here.
Yeah, man. I wonder if, like, the energy bills and utilities for running a pottery studio or a sculpture studio with, like, 1 million kilns in it, do you think that would, like, your utility bill would probably be, like, $1,000 a month?
In the center of Cambridge or something, too?
Yeah, like, you were just running, like, 18 kilns and fucking...
That's a good point.
Like, the water bill, like, working late into the night with the lights on and all over the building.
I don't know, man.
That would probably fucking suck.
Yeah, but I bet one student's tuition would cover all of it.
Is a kiln? Oh, yeah, actually, that's a good point. I was thinking just like a studio, not like
on my own.
Not like the Leslie fucking pottery studio or Mass Art, whatever.
That place is beautiful.
Is it really?
Yeah. I miss it.
I've literally never been inside of Mass Art or Leslie or any of those places. One time I was just walking around Huntington and I just tried to go into Mass Art. Just walked in to see if I could.
I don't think you can, right?
Yeah, I couldn't. The people wanted a student ID, and I was like, I'm an idiot, sorry.
I got really, really lucky one time in high school because a friend of mine that was in the arts class that I was in became a freshman, or maybe she was a sophomore at this point at Mass Art, and she took me and my other friend on a tour there. We were both like 15 or 16, and it blew my mind. Going inside of an arts college, and like I just remember the things that I was so impressed by at the time are so like
RISD?
No, it was
oh, why did I say RISD? I was just thinking about RISD.
RISD would have been cool too, but no, like we walked through the library, and I remember distinctly there was a nose painted in acrylic paint, like a really detailed nose on a radiator in the library.
Someone like a graffiti nose.
Kinda, yeah. Like somebody was just sitting there and had their paints from class and just painted a nose on the radiator. And I found it, and it was in front of a window that overlooked, like, Boston. There were all these, like, buildings. Probably not even, like, incredibly impressive. I don't really remember what the view is from outside.
Like, it was probably just, like...
I thought it was...
Fenway?
Yeah, it was Fenway, actually. I thought it was insane. I was so excited and so amazed and so grateful that she brought me there. And I in that moment, I left there and went to Savers that week, and I bought a Mass Art sweatshirt that happened to be at Savers, and I wore it every single day for the rest of high school,
cute,
basically.
Actually.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what I did one time? This was like way after. This was like a long time after. This is recent history. I wasn't in school or anything, but I went to Providence to like the RISD campus, and I was just walking around.
Oh, that's cool.
And they had this really interesting thing there that like really blew my mind. And honestly, it was like an emotional day, and I just felt like really hateful and mad and resentful.
Yeah.
Even though it was like, but just because I was just like, I think like my inner like child was like jealous or something. I want
to go to RISD.
Yeah, I wish I went here. I'm gonna kill my... Yeah, whatever. But,
wait, when did you go?
This was in like 2017.
Oh, okay.
Or 18 maybe. I was just there, like, but fucking around. But they had this fucking absolutely crazy thing. I forget. I just tried to look it up, but I don't know. I couldn't find it. But it was like this nature lab, specimen library at RISD.
Wow.
Yeah, where it's just fucking filled with glass shelves, like all the way up to the ceiling of like bones. Wow. And different bone specimens and skulls and like parts of animals. Like it wasn't, I don't think they were like human stuff. It was like mostly just like animals and shit.
Yeah.
And like they had these glass tables and like all kind, and it was the fucking coolest fucking room I'd ever been in. And there were students everywhere fucking drawing them and stuff. It was really interesting because like I just stood there and waited for someone to go in.
Yeah. And
just opened the door when they walked in. Which is kind of shocking. I could have been anybody.
Yeah.
There's a class going on in there when I went in, and it was so awkward.
You just sat in?
No, I didn't sat in. I just walked around and poked around and looked at stuff. And the teacher or the professor kind of side-eyed me, but she didn't say anything, so I was just like, okay. I guess it was fine. But yeah, it was a really, really interesting place. And it was like, I don't know, man. It's just fucking crazy, like... Who knows, though? Like, maybe if I went there, I, like, wouldn't even have fucking ever gone in there or given a fuck. Or I would have just skipped all my classes and, like, been a dick.
Well, that's the
thing.
Like,
I probably would have if I went. I wouldn't even have, like, tried if I actually went there.
That's the thing about school that I think is tough, is, like, if you could go there and it was free, or if it was affordable, maybe it wouldn't be as much stress. But, like, for example, the school that I went to, I was in survival mode, I feel like, the whole time I was there. Just thinking about assignments and all... I mean, I was doing a full course load the whole time, too. Maybe that's part of it. But it was a beautiful campus, and if I could go in there and just hang out, or just use their supplies or something, it would be awesome. But the pressure of academia and the fact that everything has to be perfect because I'm spending so much money, I want to get the best out of it, like, that feeling, I would never...
You know what it's probably like? Where you're watching a high school movie... Like a young adult high school movie. Yeah. Like we're watching Riverdale. And they have those scenes where in between class they're just in this like
lounge.
Quote student lounge.
Yeah, like what is that?
And they're all sitting there for like an hour like talking and hanging out. Or like the famous scene from a high school movie where the people are on a cement bench in the courtyard talking. It's like, in what
like
fucking
Freaks and Geeks
universe, would you ever have the time or non-supervision in a school facility where you can just sit somewhere and just chill.
Yeah.
That would never happen.
Just smoke.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
Green jacket girl has heart-to-heart with bad boy.
Right, yeah. So I did smoke in school. You could never just like sit on the bench outside the fucking door and smoke. You would instantly get suspended. But it's funny too, because actually that's kind of what we're thinking of. Like there's like a college equivalent where you're not even really enjoying like the mystery and interesting, crazy things about the campus and all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Because you know what's funny?
What?
You know, like when you're a kid and you romanticize like high school, you're like, I can't wait till I'm 16.
That's what I did with college.
Right, but maybe we're kind of doing that right now because neither of us finished school.
Oh, interesting.
So I wonder if we're both like, oh man, the mystery and intrigue and great times.
Well, I don't know about that because I don't know if I.
Because I also just went to. I know you went to community college too, but like I didn't end up transferring anywhere. I just went to school in Brockton, which was a town over. I went to school a town over from where I grew up, and then went home every day. And I always was like, man, I wish I could. I went to a Boston school,
well, that's the
but
thing.
I was a loser, and I believed that I was a loser. I meant so I didn't think I could ever go to them.
I know what you mean.
So I never even applied to any schools in the city.
I came on a very similar path because my school experience was weird because I kept going from part-time to full-time to one class to 6 classes, like bouncing back and forth. It took me 6 years ultimately until I dropped out, which is a lot of time. Yeah. But it also began while I was in high school. So, I don't know. I only started going hard on it after I graduated. So it's like weird. It wasn't 6 full-time years. But anyway, the majority of that was spent at community college, and then I had 2 semesters that I went to Leslie. So when I'm speaking about college, most of the time I'm talking about... Actually, most of the time I'm talking about Leslie when we've been talking in this podcast, but I think of Quincy usually when I think about my college experience. And even there, I think the whole time I was there I had similar feelings of like, I want to go to big kid school. Like, I've been here since I was 15. This is basically high school, blah, blah. And your brain is just, like, picturing the Harvard campus. Yeah. Even though you'll never go there for any reason. And I think the thing in my brain that I wasn't understanding was, for me, going to 4-year school was the end game. It wasn't even getting the degree. I just wanted to get there and be like, Yeah, it's like moving out for the first time. Yeah, it's like, I'm an artist now. I go to 4-year school. I have arrived. Yeah, they picked me. Yeah. But then you're there and you're like, this fucking blows. I have to study. Yeah. Which, side note, I fucking love studying. I loved school so much. But the pressure of it, I made everything worse for myself, though, by procrastinating assignments. The same thing I do with commissions. The same thing I'm doing with commissions right now. What do you do? I wait until... I guess with commissions it's different because there is no actual deadline. I'm setting my own deadlines. But I wait until the last minute that I can justify to myself. And then I have a meltdown. And then I paint for like 24 hours straight. And then I tell the person. And they had no idea that I was this stressed the whole time. And I just refuse to give myself a break. And I just pretend it never happened after I give them the piece. Yeah. I don't really do a lot of commissions. I do some. Yeah. I've done a lot of album art. But that's really slowed down since Corona. Yeah. Like, I've not really done a lot of music business, so to speak, since this all happened. I haven't done any since the pandemic began. Album art? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or band stuff at all, actually. Or what? Band stuff at all, actually. Yeah, it's because all of the band people and people who primarily do music just were, like, eliminated. They just got fucked. Yeah, because like, shows. Zoom shit and, like, Facebook live streams. Like, I support everybody who is organizing and trying their best with Facebook live streams, and some people I see are really killing it. Like, they got a lot of viewers, like, people are donating to them, and that's cool. Yeah. But those people are rare, man. There's not a lot of people that it's going well for. It's a totally different skill set. Live streaming? I feel like That's actually a good point. That it really is. Yeah, it's kind of like comedy or something, where somebody's really, really funny in conversation, but they could never... Like me, like I could not do a stand-up comedy thing ever. Yeah. Or kind of like what we're doing right now. We're doing a podcast is probably kind of its own skill set. We've discovered this. Yeah. That there's a learning curve. There is a learning curve, yeah. Episode 2, there's been a learning curve. This is the third take of episode 2? This is the third take of episode 2. Yeah, that's okay though.
Kind of embarrassing.
No, it's okay.
It's embarrassing